How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys don't want access to a private repository for this project, there is a link in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to gain access to that. Now, that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today, we're going to go ahead and try to finish up as much as we possibly can on this follow section. There is a little bit of work that we might not get to today, we'll see, but we need to do a few things. We need to make sure that this button works, and to do that, we'll need to go ahead and create a new slice to just kind of have a placeholder for the Explorer stuff. We need to be able to make this button, and then this more icon also needs to have a pop-up. That's what we might or might not have time for today, but with that being said, let's go and hop in the code and see how much we can get done. Like I had mentioned, we need to go ahead and open up our Explorer, and we need to go into our slices, so Redux slices. Then let's go ahead and make the Explorer slice. So Explorer slice.ts, let's go and hop into here. So this is going to be very simple. We're just going to go ahead and have an interface, and this is going to be our Explorer slice state. We're going to add on to this as we get going, but for now we're just going to have search in terms, and this will be a string like so. And we'll also have our const initial state, and this is going to be an Explorer slice state equal to, and then we'll have our search, search. If I could type this morning, that'd be cool. I can't, oh my goodness, terms, and this will just be an empty string. And then we'll go ahead and say export const, maybe export const, and then Explorer slice is equal to create slice. So let's go ahead and create that guy. And then inside here, we'll go ahead and have our name as Explorer. We're going to go ahead and have our initial state. Whoops. And then we will go ahead and have our reducers. So for now, we're just going to have one reducer in here. And here we're going to have set search terms. And then here we'll have our state, and we'll have our action, which is a payload action of type string. It's just going to go ahead and pass in what we want to set it to. And then we'll go ahead and return. And then we will return ... state. And then we're also going to have search terms will be action.payload. So that's all we're going to do. So whenever we click that search button, it's going to go ahead and set this stuff and then navigate to our Explorer page. The Explorer page will read these search terms and make the search for us. So now let's go ahead and do our export const. We need to go ahead and return or export our search terms, or set search terms is equal to Explorer slice. And then this one's going to be .actions. We'll also export defaults. And then this is going to be Explorer slice.reducer. So I don't remember why we exported twice, but it is what it is. So now let's go ahead and bring this into our store. Inside of our store, we'll do the same thing. We'll go ahead and import, and this will be our Explorer reducer, from, and then /slices /Explorer slice. And let's see if this wants to work today. We had a bunch of issues the other day and I messed up. There we go. We had a lot of issues the other day, so hopefully it just works. And then we're just going to go ahead and put this below message. So we're going to have Explorer, and this will be Explorer reducer and our comma, and that should be good. So that's all we had to do there. Now what we just need to do is we need to go back into our follow section and set up our navigate to Explorer. So inside of our profile follow section, we already have our navigate to Explorer. What we need to go ahead and do is we need to go ahead and call that dispatch. So go ahead and dispatch, which we do have set up, so that's good. And then we're going to go ahead and set search terms, and we're going to go ahead and set it to from : $ curly brace, and this is going to be username. So this is what Twitter does whenever you search from a user's profile. You say from : and then the username, and then we'll deal with that on the back end once we start working with the Explorer stuff. So now let's go ahead and go into our app and actually set up a very quick Explorer page. So inside of our app, let's come down to where we have all of our routes. So I'm just going to go ahead and set up a very simple Explorer route, and it's just going to show Explorer page and probably nothing else. So we're going to have our route path is going to be equal to, and this is just going to be /Explorer. And then our element is going to be equal to, like I said, very simple. It's just going to go ahead and say explore, and we can check the Redux to make sure that everything got set up properly. So that's good to go. So now let's hop into the front end, open up Redux, and make sure that whenever we click on that guy, it takes us to the explore page and it also sets those terms. So let's just give this a nice refresh really quick, just for giggle's sake. Let's go ahead and open up Redux in a new window. Okay, so right now we don't have anything. If we go ahead and click on the search, it takes us to explore. Let's open up Redux. We should have a set search terms. Perfect. And then if we go into explore, search terms is from Morty Smith. We just came from Morty, so that's perfect. And we also reset all the profile stuff to undefined. If we go down here, all this stuff is unset now. So now whenever we go back to a profile, it's going to go ahead and set it for us. So now if we go back to like our profile, it's our stuff. If we go back to Morty, let's see here, go back to Morty Smith, it's back to Morty stuff, and there might be a small flicker where there's stuff there, but you don't really notice it. So now we can go ahead and get into the fun part, which is setting up this button so it's not all scuffed. The good news is a lot of the CSS we can copy paste. I deleted all the other stuff like a dummy a couple episodes ago, so we're going to rewrite all of the HTML. But with that being said, let's hop into the code and get to work here. So let's open up our Explorer. Let's come over here to where our profile stuff is, and under profile and components, let's go ahead and make the profile follow button / profile follow button.tsx, and we'll also go ahead and make the profile follow button button.css. Let's hop into the tsx, and then let's go ahead and import React from React, and then depending how long this component takes, we'll see how much we get into creating the pop-up. So let's go ahead and export const, and then this will be profile follow button. This is going to get used in a couple places, so that's why we end up creating a new component for it, react.fc. And then here we're going to go ahead and have the username, which is going to be a string. We're going to go ahead and have following, which is a boolean, and we're also going to go ahead and actually that's it. We could have made this an interface, and I might still go back and make an interface, but doesn't matter. Username following, and then create our arrow function. So now let's just go ahead and return a div really quick just to get this over with. So div, and let me actually make this pretty because I don't know what I'm doing. And then in here, we'll have our class name, maybe, equal to, and this will be profile follow button. And actually, we're going to do a little bit more work than just having this, but it is what it is. We'll just set that there for now, and then we can work on it once we get our state set up. So we're going to go ahead and set up as const dispatch, which is an app dispatch equal to use dispatch. Let's go ahead and import all of that stuff that we need. We're also going to go ahead and bring in the token. So const token is equal to use selector. And then we're going to have our state and root state, maybe if I could type state, and then I need to go and import as well. So this is going to be state.user. And then let's go ahead and bring in our root state really quick. There we go. That's good to go. And let's also go ahead and bring in our app dispatch. And okay, it's already brought in. It's just not being used, so it's mad at us. That is fine. And then we'll also go ahead and have a use state. So const hover, and then over unfollow, and set hover over unfollow is equal to, and actually this should be hovering. So hovering, and then set hovering is going to be equal to use state. And let's go ahead and bring in use state of a boolean, and this will start out as false. Okay, so now we have all of our state set up. Let's go ahead and say const handle and then follow user. And here, this is going to be a very simple arrow function. So this is going to say if we have a token, we're going to go ahead and dispatch, and we're going to go ahead and dispatch follow user, and this will follow or unfollow the user depending on if you're following them or not. Token, and then we're going to have follow e is going to be our username. So if we're following them already, it'll unfollow. If we're not following them, it'll follow them. So now what we're actually going to do is we're going to have a fragments here. I couldn't think for a second. We're going to say following question mark. And then in here, if we're following, we'll have a div with a class name equal to, and it's going to be profile dash unfollow dash button. Okay. And then otherwise we'll go ahead and have a different div with follow button. So let's go ahead and copy this div in here so it's not complaining at us, like so. Delete this and then go ahead and paste that in there, format it so it looks pretty. So now let's go ahead and deal with these. So this should actually be a button, not a div. And let's go ahead and fix this button. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and do one of these because we need to add some things in here other than our class name. Okay, so we're going to have on mouse enter, and this is going to be equal to, and we're going to go ahead and set our hovering over unfollow to true. And then on mouse leave, we're going to do the opposite. So here we're going to go ahead and say set hovering over following to false. Okay, and then on click, it's going to go ahead and equal to our handle follow user. And then inside here, we're going to go ahead and have hovering over unfollow question mark. If that's the case, we're going to go ahead and have unfollow. Otherwise, it's going to go ahead and say following. So that is our following button, basically our unfollow button. And then we need another button right here. So we'll go ahead and fix this one up as well, button. And then we'll go ahead and put button like so. And then here we need to also go ahead and add on click. So let's just do one of these to clean it up a little bit. And then let's go under our class here and add the on click, and it's going to be the same thing. So it's just going to be handle follow user because it does both. It follows and unfollows. And this one's going to say follow. Cool. So that's good to go. Now let's hop into the follow section, and I'm going to check what the CSS looks like just to make sure it's the same, but I'm pretty sure it is, and we can just copy paste it over. So let's hop into that follow section CSS. Inside of our profile follow section CSS, let's scroll up here. We should be able to find like follow, unfollow buttons. So that's edit profile button. That's fine. So we have a follow button, which is 80, 36px, none, 18px, background color, font size, font weight, color. So this is the same. So let's go ahead and grab this guy. Go ahead and grab this guy. Let's make sure the unfollow button is the same. 104, 36, border. Yes, I think it's the exact same. So let's go ahead and grab these. Let's hop into the CSS of the other one. So now inside of our profile follow button, let's go and import this. And now we just need to go ahead and say, instead of profile follow section follow button, this is just profile follow button. And then again, this one is just going to be profile follow button. And I think this should be hover. So I think I might have broke this profile follow follow button. I think this should be hover. So let's go ahead and add hover to this. And then here, profile follow section. And then this should be unfollow button instead. And then this one should just be profile unfollow button as well. So let's go ahead and set all that up, save that. Let's also make sure the CSS is imported into a component. So let's go up here to the bottom here, and let's go ahead and import /, and then this one is profile follow button .css. Looks good. Now let's go and actually add this in to our profile follow section. And this should also go ahead and see if we completely broke that one area because it looks pretty smushed. So now here we can go ahead and pass in our profile follow button component. So we're going to go ahead and have our profile follow button, and we need two things. We need username to just be equal to the username. We need the following, which is going to be equal to following. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and hop into the front end, see how this looks, and make sure it is working and everything. So let's hop into the front end. Now we can see that we are following Morty. We gave it a refresh. We can click unfollow. We refresh, it should continue saying unfollow. Go ahead and follow, it says following again. So that is looking good. It's working, it's not smashed. Perfect. So now we are able to click on this guy and it works. I don't think we're able to click on this guy. We'll have to kind of look into that, or we might not. I don't know. We're not going to do every single tiny little implementation inside of Twitter just because it's going to take way too long, but we'll see. This one, I don't know if we're going to do either. That's just turning on notifications for Morty. And then the last thing that we need to go ahead and do is work on this profile follow button. So you can see we click on it and it pops up. So there's actually quite a bit of work to do in this. We are making really good time, so we'll see how far we get, but we might not get 100% everything done in the kind of the time frame that I want. So that being said, let's stop yapping, get back in the code, and try to get this guy working. So we need to go and open up our Explorer. We need to go into our post components, and let's go ahead and make the post or the profile, and then this can be more popup / profile more popup.tsx. And then let's go ahead and make the profile more popup.css. Let's hop into the TSX and let's go and import React from React. And then let's also import the // and this is profile more popup.css. So there's more than just setting up the HTML for this that we have to do. So that's why I'm not 100% sure if we can get everything done, but we'll see here. So let's go ahead and set up our interface for our props. So interface, maybe, I can't type, and this is going to be profile more popup props. Inside, we're going to have following, which is a Boolean. We're going to go ahead and have follower, which is a Boolean. We're going to have username, which is a string, and then we're also going to have handle close, which is going to take in an E of type any, and void. So we might try to work on getting the HTML and CSS set up and then come back through and deal with closing it in the next episode or something. We'll see. Export const, and this will be profile more popup react.fc, and then this is going to go ahead and take in our profile more popup props like so. Let's go ahead and break these props apart. So following, follower and username, and then handle close. Cool. And then let's do this. So now let's just go ahead and return a div like we do, just so that it doesn't complain. Div class name equal to profile more maybe more popup. Okay. And now we can go ahead and work on the state because there is a bit of state and stuff we need to do. So we're going to go ahead and we need a popup ref is equal to use ref. And then this will be an HTML div element. And we'll start out as null like we do. And it's going to be used to help us close this later on. And then we're going to have another interface inside this. And it's going to be our popup object. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to set up a big list of objects. We're going to loop through them and then display them. So this is going to have an ID, which is a number. This is going to have an SVG. It's going to be a react.react node. Maybe it's going to go ahead and have a text of type string. And then finally, it's going to have a type, which is either going to be following, or you have to be follower to see it, or it doesn't matter, so it's in/a. So basically the way this is going to work is if you're following the person, you'll go ahead and see the following type. If they're a follower of you, you'll see the follower type. If it doesn't matter, you'll see in/a. Let's go ahead and import our use ref so this isn't complaining anymore. And then now we need to go ahead and set up our massive list of our pop-up objects. Now I don't know if we're going to get to all the SVGs either because there's a lot of SVGs and stuff we need to import. So I'm thinking we might just pop this up on the screen and then go through, add in SVGs and all that stuff in a later episode. We'll just see how long it takes. So we're going to go ahead and have our const popup maybe list will be a popup object. I can't type this morning. Array equal to a new array. So we'll start out with our first object ID1, and this is just for like keys and stuff. SVG needs to be a repost off SVG, and we're going to get this from Twitter. So that's why I said we might not have all of the SVGs. Text is going to be turned off repost, and then the type is going to be for following. Okay, our next object ID will be 2. Here our SVG is another one we need to create. This is going to be view topics SVG. Okay, and we'll set this up later. And then after our SVG, our text is going to go ahead and be view topics. Okay, this one, the type is going to be in/a. It doesn't matter if you're following them or they're following you. Next, ID 3, SVG is going to go ahead and be one we have. So let's add SVG. It's going to be height equal to 18, and width equal to 18. And let's go ahead and close that guy. Here, we're going to go ahead and have the text is going to be backticks, add/remove, and then at, I don't know why it's acting like it didn't close that. It's acting weird. Hopefully it's not an issue. $ curly brace, username from list. And then finally, we'll go ahead and have type on this one is going to be in/a. Cool. Next one, ID, it's going to be 4, obviously. This one is going to be SVG. This one is just lists. And this one's list SVG. Height will be once again 18. Our width will once again be 18. Let's go and close this guy. And then here, text is going to be just view list. So view list, and then type once again is going to be in/a. Our next one is going to be ID 5 SVG. On this one, we need to go ahead and, oh, no, we're fine. This one's going to be file upload SX. This one is going to be height 18 px. Let's actually make sure this is inside of quotes, and width is going to be 18 px. So this one came from material I. So that's nice that we had that one. Text is going to be share maybe profile, and then via ... And then this one is just going to be type of in/a. So that one's good to go. Next we'll have ID 6 SVG is going to go ahead and be, we need to create this one. This one's copy. Let's go ahead and close this. Copy and link SVG. And then after copy link SVG, our text is going to be copy link to profile. And then here we'll have type, once again, it'll be in/a. Next we'll have ID is 7, and SVG is going to be one we have. This one is mute SVG. Height will equal to 18. Width, once again, will equal to 18. And then let's make sure we add our comma so we don't break this. Text is going to be backticks, mute, at, and then this is going to be $ curly brace, username. And then below here, our type will be once again in/a. Next, we'll have ID 8. The SVG is going to be remove follower SVG. So remove follower SVG. So this one obviously is going to be not any type. Text is going to be remove this follower. And then our type is going to be follower. Next, we'll have ID equal to 9. This one is going to be the block SVG. So this will be block SVG. Height will be 18. Our width will be 18. And then go ahead and close that. Here, our text will go ahead and be backticks, block, $ curly brace, username, and then below that we'll have type of in/a. And I think we're getting close to being done here. ID 10. Here, SVG is going to be report SVG. Height will be equal to 18, and width will be equal to 18. Okay, and then here, text will be backticks, report, $ curly brace, username, and then finally our type for this one is in/a. There we go. And what did I break here? ID. Okay, it's fine. So I don't see any errors, so that's good. So that is our pop-up list, and I just did this that way we can kind of like map through this rather than, I guess, doing this all by hand. It wouldn't have really mattered, but it kind of takes out the repetition inside of our actual component. So ref is going to be equal to popup ref, like so. And then in here, we're going to go ahead and say popup list.map, and we're going to go ahead and map each item. And let's do this. So now in here, we're going to have a switch case. So we're going to go ahead and switch on our item, item maybe dot type, like so. Go ahead and set up our switch case. So case following, and then let's make sure we actually put this inside of quotes. That way it is going to work. So case following, and I did this wrong. In here, we're going to say if following. I don't know why we had to double check this. Maybe it's just because of the way React is or TypeScript is, but we're going to go ahead and return, and then div class name equal to profile maybe dash more dash popup dash option. Key is going to be equal to item.id, and then inside here we'll have item.svg and then item.text. So it's going to be very, very simple. And then next we'll go ahead and do our next case. So case, and then otherwise actually we're going to go ahead and return nothing, basically return nothing. There we go. Okay, then we can do our next case, case for follower. And here, once again, or check if follower. I'm assuming this is a TypeScript thing, but it is what it is. If follower, otherwise we'll return nothing once again. Shouldn't ever get to this point, but it is what it is. Return, and then we'll go ahead and return a div, the class name equal to profile dash more dash pop up dash option. Key will go ahead and be equal to item.id once again, and then inside we'll do the same thing, item.svg and item.text. Okay, and then now we have our default case, so we'll go ahead and below our last case we'll say default, and this one doesn't matter. We'll go ahead and return, this will show for everyone, div class name equal to profile dash more dash popup dash option. Our key will equal to item.id once again, and inside we'll have our item.svg and we'll have our item.text. And then let's go ahead and do this, and that is everything. So that is all we have here. Now let's go ahead and style this guy. I'm thinking we'll probably just style it, and then we'll go ahead and do the rest of this stuff a little bit later on in the next episode, just because we're getting pretty close to 30 minutes here, or at 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and style this guy up. Let's hop into the CSS. So the CSS is pretty simple. We're gonna have our pop up, and we need to actually say profile dash more, if I could type, dash pop up. Okay, so width is going to be 355 px. We're going to have height is fit-content. We have a position of absolute because we're going to put it like right on top. Top will be 0, and we'll have right of 0. Next we'll have a border of 1 px solid, and this is going to be pound E1 E8 ED. ED, there we go. It's going to be our light gray color. We're going to have a box dash shadow. So it's going to be the same box shadow we use everywhere else. RGBA is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0.2. And then this is going to be 0 px and 5 px and 15 px. We're going to have border dash radius of about 12 px. And then we're going to have a background dash color. So background dash color of white, since it's going to overhang stuff, and then overflow is going to be hidden on this guy. There we go. Then we need our option dot profile dash more dash popup dash option, and here we'll have a width of 100%. We're going to have a height of fit dash content. We'll have a padding of 12 px 16 px, and then we're going to go ahead and display display and flex. We're going to justify content in the flex start. We're going to go ahead and align items in the center. We're going to have a gap of 12 px. It's probably not going to work perfect, but it is what it is. We're going to have a font size of 15 px and a font dash weight of about 600. While we don't have all the SVG set up, this gap is probably going to look a little bit funky, but once we get those SVG set up in the next episode, it'll look good. Finally, we'll go ahead and have a dot profile dash more pop-up option hover. And then inside this hover, we'll go ahead and have a cursor pointer. And we'll also go ahead and have a background dash color of RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.05. So that is our profile more pop-up kind of setup. We still have a little bit more to do, obviously, but we'll get to that point. So now let's go ahead and hop into our profile follow section and get this put in there. So let's just double check that I did in fact set up display pop-up. I did. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and set up a const, and this is going to be handle close pop-up. This is going to take in an e of type any, and we're going to go ahead and do this, and then we'll go ahead and say e.stop propagation. Maybe propagation. It's hard whenever they don't actually spell it out for you. I think that's proper. We'll see. And then set display pop-up will be set to false. We're going to go ahead and set up a custom hook in the next episode to handle closing these. So that'll be fun. And then now let's go ahead and come down to where we have our display pop-up and display pop-up more here. And then we're going to go ahead and add in the actual thing. So profile, and this would be more pop-up. And it didn't import. That's fine. Following is going to be equal to following. We're going to have follower equal to follower. And then we're going to have username equal to username, like so. And then we need to go ahead and import our profile more pop-up. We also need to handle close. So let's go ahead and add in the handle close before I forget. So handle close will be equal to handle close pop-up. Now that is all good. So now let's go ahead and see if this is working. Fingers crossed we don't have to debug too much because it is getting a little bit of a longer episode. So let's hop into the front end and just see how it looks. As you can see, we have all this stuff. So it looks like Morty is following us. So that's good. So if we refresh and we go and open this guy up, you can see how it looks. We go to like our profile. I guess we don't have it. Let's go to like Summer. I don't think we're following Summer. So yeah, we're not following Summer. So it should be slightly different. As you can see, we click off of it, nothing happens because we need to go ahead and set that up, but we'll go ahead and look into that next episode. So with that being said, guys, hope you did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys do want to see, we start from absolute scratch to get to the point we are now. There's a player's end card that's going to pop up right after this. So that being said, y'all, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.